Hello, North Carolina students. It is a special time of year. So, in today's podcast, we will discuss college application tips and best practices. We're also going to share resources and information on how the statewide Countdown to College campaign can help you prepare. My name is Brittany Privet. I'm an Associate Outreach Director for CFNC, and I'm the host for the CFNC podcast. Get graduation ready. Joining me today is Amy Denton. She's also an Associate Outreach Director for CFNC. Thank you so much for joining us today, Amy.
You're welcome, Brittany. This is exciting. I'm glad to be a part of this today.
Yes, Amy and I both have college admissions backgrounds, and I don't want to speak for Amy, but I have a feeling, like me, it's one of her favorite times of year. This is college application season.
It sure is. And what an exciting time for students. And we have to think about that this is the beginning of their journey, just as we took. So how exciting it is to help them start their journey to college.
Absolutely. It's a busy time, but a very exciting time. So I have a couple of questions for you, Amy, to help students through this process. You are an expert in the field. So I wanted to kind of start with, what is Countdown to College and what should students be doing to prepare?
Okay, cool. So Countdown to College in North Carolina, it's a year-long initiative that we like to think of it as, but it kicks off in October. And some of the things that we do to help students and families is to learn more about and complete the 3 college-going steps that we in North Carolina are really excited about this time of year. And we encourage educators to help their students too. So one of those things is North Carolina residency, by completing their residency service on the CFNC website, helping them complete college applications that we just talked about, and also helping them search for scholarships and other ways to find financial aid. And the place to start there is the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid.
So it sounds like there's going to be support for students through this time. Since it's a big campaign, we want to make sure that students have the support they need to complete those 3 steps, those very important steps. I think one of the weeks that people get the most excited about is College Application Week. What is College Application Week and when is it this year?
All right, cool. Yeah, College Application Week is a time in North Carolina that many of the colleges will waive their application fees. That's going to include the majority of the private schools in our state and many of the 4-year UNC system schools, as well as, of course, all of the community colleges. But it starts off, we kick it off on Monday, October 20th at 7:30 in the morning, and we'll run it all the way through the next Sunday on October 26th at 5 o'clock. So we'll release to the public, to educators and to students and families, the list of those colleges that everybody waits for. Everybody's excited to when the release comes out on October 1st. So that's the plan for now. And of course, we always encourage, and it is the case, that students must come to cfnc.org to start the application process. We may take them to other places to apply, but they have to come to cfnc.org to start their applications to get those application fees waived. And that's the most encouraging part about this particular week in October.
That's really good to know. And I think it's a great initiative. It sounds like Christmas in October. So not only are you receiving a list of schools that are going to waive their fees at the beginning of October, but you can save tons of money during that college application week. Usually college application fees range from free to $100. So being able to apply to multiple colleges during that week for free sounds like a really great opportunity. When it comes to that process, it sounds like they need to start with opening a CFNC account and setting that up. That's something they can do now to prepare for that week. But are there any ways that students can start researching application requirements for the colleges that they're interested in?
Absolutely. We would say that the best place to start is going to be on our website at cfnc.org, and they can go to the college search feature where we have all 111 colleges on our website. And one of the particular sections of each individual college is a tab called admissions. And on that particular tab, we'll share data with students and families as they are researching colleges to find out what types of admissions requirements are needed for that institution. Let's say an average GPA or the top 25th percentile of the class. Maybe it's going to be the average SAT scores, whatever it is. We're going to share insight on past classes, maybe the most previous class that was admitted to that institution. So it will give a better idea of what the student's going to expect. Maybe it's going to letters of recommendation or a college essay that they're going to have to write. So the college search is a great place to find out about the admissions requirements for that particular institution that they're trying to apply to. But maybe before they even get to that point of applying, they should start to do their searches to find out what's going to be a good fit for them for that institution. So researching majors, maybe the locations, other things that are most important to them, and finding colleges that would be best suited for them. So the college search is certainly the number one way that we would recommend of beginning this process of finding out where it's going to be a good fit and maybe what's going to be the best fit for me to start my college applications.
That's such a good tip. I think sometimes, especially in a state like North Carolina, where we have so many amazing colleges, that students get really excited and sometimes will apply to schools without really doing their research. So it's really great that CFNC has that free tool, but also really encouraging students to think about their fit. So they can do that research on the college search, like you said, major, location. I also tell students to look at the size of the school, because we have schools with over 40,000 students. We also have schools with close to 1,000 students. So there's a wide variety when it comes to colleges in North Carolina. So doing your research now, looking for schools that fit what you're looking for out of your education is really important. So thank you for reiterating that, Amy, and encouraging students to do that research. I also tell students, if they are looking into colleges and they want to go to college, but they don't know what they want to do, or they don't really have an idea of what the future looks like for them, to take an assessment on CFNC. I know we talked about that in the last podcast, but it's great to take some time to get to know yourself and how your skills match up with different careers, and start thinking about what colleges are going to kind of fit into that. Now, let's back up a second. You said that Countdown to College Month focuses on 3 parts, the 3 steps to applying to college. What order should they do those things in? Is there a specific order, or should they just get all those things done in the month of October?
Well, usually we would recommend that students start with NC Residency first. ncresidency.org is where students can go to complete their RDS, their Residency Determination Service. It's like an interview of sorts. And this is a great opportunity for them to begin the process, because we need to know in North Carolina that they are a resident of our state to qualify for in-state tuition if they're choosing to go to a public institution in North Carolina. And who are our publics? That's our 58 community colleges and our 16 UNC system schools. And we need to know, indeed, if they are residents of our state to qualify for in-state tuition, that they also can receive state grants from North Carolina. We have state grant opportunities for students who go to one of our publics, and we have state grant opportunities for students who go to any of our private schools. So that's probably the more important step to begin with. Many of our colleges in North Carolina, and number one, it's going to be all our 58 community colleges, they do require on their college applications the RCN. That's the Residency Certification Number. That's the result of a student and family completing the RDS. That's a required field on college applications for the community colleges. So a student could not even begin to submit their application to a community college without having done residency first. So I would say residency is a big step. That can be completed, Brittany, as you know, prior to October. October 1 is the kickoff of the FAFSA. Students can do applications for admissions at the same time. I don't think there's a particular order that we would prefer regarding the FAFSA or the applications, but most students are working on applications because of deadlines that colleges in North Carolina may have. So definitely residency first, if you would agree with that. And
Yes,
then maybe
absolutely.
the FAFSA and applications to follow.
I wholeheartedly agree. And I love that you mentioned that some schools require it. However, some schools don't when it comes to the application itself, that you do residency first. But I like to tell students, if you don't do your residency and you do your FAFSA and your applications, you're leaving money on the table. So in-state tuition, there is a difference when it comes to cost between in-state and out-of-state tuition. And even at schools that don't require in-state or out-of-state tuition, like our private institutions, you're leaving money on the table for state grant dollars if you don't complete that residency. So thank you for encouraging students to get that done. They can start now. They can do it in the beginning of October, but the earlier the better when it comes to seniors, so that they can go ahead and see if they qualify for the benefits of being a North Carolina resident.
That's exactly right. And you made the good point of leaving money on the table. We know every year that there are tons of federal dollars left on the table, but look how much state funding is perhaps left for students who don't complete the necessary steps. So we highly encourage them to start the process now to get that done.
You also mentioned deadlines. Is there a place on CFNC where students can find out what schools' deadlines are?
Yes, we have a document that's shared under the Apply to College part of our website. That's also where the application hub is held for students. And there's the document's called Admissions Deadlines and Open House Dates. I think that's what we still call it. But it's a great place, the culmination of all 111 colleges. If there are specific deadline dates for admissions applications, for early decision, early action, for any other particular timings that colleges are requiring certain applications to be submitted, we're going to share that in that document, and also with their visitation dates and ways they can sign up for open houses or other just general visits to the college. Because we've stated that finding the best fit is a great place and a perfect opportunity for students to go through the college search feature of CFNC. But one of the next steps, Brittany, as you and I well know from our admissions background, we want them to come visit our colleges.
Yes.
So we do share with students up front in one place this admissions deadlines document that they could find out the dates, or just go to this college's websites to find out the information themselves. So researching first, finding out what may be a good fit, and taking a visit to the campus.
Absolutely. And they can visit campus before or after they apply, but it is important for them to visit before they deposit and make their final decision. Looking at colleges online is great, but it's just like shopping online. Sometimes you really need to try it on before you actually commit to something. So it is important that you visit campus. And it sounds like CFNC gives a lot of resources to help students stay organized when it comes to planning for when they're going to apply and when they're going to visit campus. So thank you for that information. That's really helpful. And I will say, in admissions, that was my favorite part, was students coming to campus and showing them around, answering their questions. So I do want to make sure that students know that the admissions office wants to engage with you. There's no scary man behind the curtain like in The Wizard of Oz. There are real people that are going to be reading your application, and they want to answer your questions before you apply or during the application process, because they want you to make the best decision for you. So we've talked about RDS or residency. We've talked about applications, and we're going to talk about the FAFSA at another time on another podcast. But I want to ask, before we start to wrap up, what are any tips that you have for students when it comes to applying? Are there any best practices or anything they need to know to make their application more competitive?
I think one of the greatest things for students to think about as they go in this application process, because I witnessed it myself, Brittany, for 11 years that I was in college admissions, one of the most important things for students to think about, even when they're in a hurry, perhaps during college application week in October, be mindful of your spelling. How simple can that be? Yes. Be mindful of capitalization on letters and words that you're writing. That makes a big difference when college admissions folks are reading your applications, even if it's a college that doesn't require very detailed information, even an essay or a personal statement, just filling out the required questions. That makes a big difference in the way that we read them. And it speaks volumes to the person that they're being attentive, that they're being careful to what they're writing. Now, for those colleges that do require more detailed information, remember, if we haven't met you yet, and I can't remember your name to your face, to the writing on that piece of paper, this may be the first way that I'm going to learn more about you. So being careful to how you answer the questions and your writing, but also tell me a little bit about yourself. That's a common question that, colleges ask students in their admissions interviews. Very open-ended. Tell me a little bit about yourself. So if you have the opportunity to handwrite, type, whatever you want to do on that college application, information about you, tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me something that I would think you would be a great fit for my institution. For a little bit about your background, how you overcame challenges in life, what your goals and your aspirations may be. Anything that I think that you would want me to know more about, and how I think that information's going to make you a great candidate for my institution. Beyond the transcript that we're going to see already, Brittany, we're going to know their GPA, we're going to know their classes and course requirements that they've met for my institution. We're going to know that already, but I want to know a little bit more. So I think thinking about how you're going to fill out the applications, allowing yourself enough time. Don't be in a rush. Don't be in a hurry to sit down at the computer. If you have 1 hour's time frame of going into the media center at college application week, start the application. Maybe you need to take it home with you, take your laptop home, open it back up when you're at home with your parents. Get someone else to review personal statements or essays to make sure that you're saying the best you can and putting your best foot forward in your application, because you've stated that already. This is the way we're going to find out a lot about you if we've not had a chance to meet you before.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a great answer. And I think it goes back to there's a person reading your application and they see you as a person as well. Students aren't walking GPAs. There's so much more than that. So it's great to hear from somebody from admissions reiterate that they want to know who you are as a human being. I usually tell students before you start the application process, answer these 2 questions to yourself. Why do you want to go to college? And what can you contribute to a campus community? If you can't answer those questions, take some time to yourself to reflect upon that. And when you're filling out your application, really take the time to figure out, is that coming through? Is the person reading my application going to know why I want to be there and what I can contribute? Thank you so much for that great advice today.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate it. We talked a little bit about transferring to colleges in the last episode. So if you want to know more about that, definitely check out our last episode. It was a great one with Naftali. But last thing I want to cover is that there are tons of resources on CFNC. We have information about NC College Connect, which we may have an episode about in the future. We have the college search that Amy talked about. We have a whole page for Countdown to College to help support students through these really kind of stressful processes. So you are not alone in this process. Please check out CFNC and do your research before putting pen to paper and applying. But the last thing I want to leave students with is before October hits, go ahead and set up your CFNC account. Whether you use us or other forms of applications, you're going to utilize CFNC in some capacity if you're applying to North Carolina colleges. The best way to get ready for Countdown to College and really set yourself up for success in October is setting up your CFNC.org account. It's free and it is a great resource for anybody seeking to plan, apply, pay, or save for college. So I want to thank Amy Denton today for joining us. Any last thoughts, Amy? Anything you want to reiterate to students before we close out today?
No, I think, Brittany, we've covered a lot of the information about this particular topic. It's the main thing is for students to really get to know the institutions that they're wishing to apply to. How many times have we been into schools where just because the word free pops up, the student will automatically say, that's where I'm applying to. And you make a comment about, oh, yeah, oh, so you like the North Carolina mountains. And they look at you like deer in headlights and they say, oh, the North Carolina mountains. No, I don't like the mountains. I'm like, well, that's where you're applying to an institution. You're applying to this college that's in the mountains. So get to know the colleges. I think that's, just don't keep looking for the word free. Make sure you know where you're applying, because can you imagine if the next step comes that you're having to answer questions about why do you want to come to this college, and you totally give answers that, I like the beach. Oh, well, okay, that's good. I like the beach too, but you're actually applying to this college that's in the mountains. So get to know the colleges and make sure you're comfortable with the colleges that you're submitting your applications to, in case you decide that that's going to be the college I'm going to attend. So I think that's my last bit of advice that I think is most helpful, is just make sure you know your colleges.
Absolutely. And my last note would be ask for help if you need it. You've got a lot of people in your corner. You're not alone in this process. And CFNC is not the only resource out there. You've got great high school counselors. You've got friends. You've got family. Lean on your resources. So thank you again, Amy, for joining us. Again, my name is Brittany Privet. I'm an Associate Outreach Director for CFNC. And we appreciate you joining us for the CFNC podcast. Get graduation ready.